Hello, this is Richard Norman again. I hope my phone doesn't ring. Every time I try to do something today, my phone has been ringing, starts ringing. Anyway, I was telling you about my early life in the 1930s. Uh, I remember I was telling about having an ice box and how it was made. They put the ice in the top part where the freezer is and refrigerators, and that kept the food cool through the day. And you had to empty that little pan under the ice box several times a day. You had to watch it because it would get too full. There wasn't room enough for a deeper pan. But anyway, that's the way that went. And we had to have ice. And so, what I was trying to tell you before I got so rudely interrupted was that the Iceman had to come every day of the week in the morning, a big covered, not a covered wagon like the Pioneers, but a big wagon that was enclosed, had a lot of ice in it. And there were grooves in it for one uh, block or two blocks or however many you wanted. They'd chip it apart and then they would bring that in. Uh, and so the man and that wagon was drawn by I think I think it was just two horses. But that horse wagon came every morning, and we bought ice, and a block of ice, one block of ice cost a nickel. And so we spent a nickel every single day for ice. And the iceman who would bring it in, he did that so much that it wet the back of him, and it was very cold. So he had some kind of leather jacket on to prevent the water from getting to him and freezing him to death. And I thought that might be kind of interesting to know. Our street was just a dirt street. I think it was gravel, mostly gravel. And we had no sidewalks. It was just a path across where a sidewalk should be. Later on, we got a sidewalk and curb and paved street. Uh, we lived at 4309 Avenue D in Austin, Texas. And if you Google that, you can see the house that I grew up in. It was my grandfather's house, and it was a big house. Uh, I think our ceilings were something like 14 feet uh, high. The windows were a lot taller than the normal windows are today. And uh, they all had screens on the outside, and then the window pane, and you could raise and lower the lower window. And we kept all of those in the summers, which we did not have air conditioning. We kept all of those windows open. Uh, and the interesting thing is that with those 14-foot windows, there was room for what they called a transom over each door in the house. It was a big kind of a window that was over the door that you could open up so the air that came into that room could go through that uh, overhead and throughout the house. So if there was any breeze, you could feel it in every room, whether the door was opened or closed. And let's see. Uh, I remember that when I was little kid, I liked to uh, play outside a lot, and we didn't have television, of course. It wasn't invented, and we didn't have cell phones, all of that. Our telephone was a tall uh, black instrument with a horn on the front to talk into, and it had a receiver that you put to your ear, and that was our telephone. And it's not like it was, not like it is today at all. And I really liked it better then because the Bell Telephone Company, we called it Ma Bell, uh, was the only telephone company in the United States, and everybody had a Bell telephone. Everybody who had a telephone had a Bell telephone. And if you had any problems, you could just jiggle the receiver, and an operator would come on, or you could dial zero and an operator would come on, and you could tell her what your problem was and what you needed, and she would help you. She'd uh, make a call for you or give you a number or whatever you needed. She would handle that for you. And now it's like pulling teeth to get a good phone service. And we have all these stupid answering machines that give you tons of information you have no need for. And then it's very hard to get anybody to talk to today on the telephone. It didn't used to be that way. You could dial your doctor, and the receptionist would answer the phone and tend to whatever you wanted. There were nurses there and the doctor, but you could talk directly to the doctor's office without these stupid machines they have today. It's virtually impossible to talk to anybody in the doctor's office, it seems. I get very, very frustrated when I need to do that. Uh, and let's see. I was trying to think of what else to tell you. Oh, uh, when I was about 6 years old, I was almost six. Our birthday's on September the 15th, and I just turned 95 this month. And since my birthday came on the 15th, school began on the first day after Labor Day every fall. And you couldn't start to school until you were six. And so about 2 weeks before I was six, I couldn't start to school. I had to wait till the next fall, till I was almost seven, to start to school. And it was a different world back then, very different. And but I enjoyed every minute of it. I had a wonderful, wonderful life. Uh, I have enjoyed all 95 years. Uh, I don't mean to say that we didn't have some ups and downs, but like Frank Sinatra's song, uh, My Way. He said, regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. And so that's the way I am. I've had a few regrets, but really too few to mention. It's really been a wonderful life. Uh, Back in the days when I went to school, uh, the boys always dressed in long trousers uh, and with a shirt, and girls always dressed in uh, dresses or skirt and blouse. No girls, when I was growing up, no girls in school all the way through high school ever wore shorts or a pair of pants. They wore dresses or skirts and blouses. And I want to tell you, the girls were a lot prettier in dresses and skirts and blouses than they are in pants. I think it's tragic that there are some women who don't even own a dress. But that's true today. And women don't know how bad they look in trousers. They really, every woman would look better in a dress and a shirt and blouse than they do. I'm going to read some of these. Oh, well, thank you. I've had some birthday wishes. Uh, I had a wonderful birthday. I got pneumonia uh, in August the 28th and went into the hospital. And I came very near to dying. But I pulled through the pneumonia. I was in the hospital a week, and then I was in rehab for about, I think it was 12 days or so. When I went into rehab, uh, I was totally helpless. I could do nothing by myself. But after just that short time, 12 days, I think it was, I was self sufficient and able to go back to my independent living uh, studio apartment, which you see behind me, and I live independently again. Yes, I do sing on YouTube. I know I'm not a real good singer because I used to be a very good singer. I think I have a portion, one of these live things that tells about my singing life. I was trained to sing grand opera, and you may not know this, but opera singers never have a mic. They have to be able to sing loud enough that they can be heard in the top row at the far end of the building over 100-piece orchestra and maybe 100 uh, choral singers. Somebody asked, why did men stop wearing hats? Well, I see a lot of guys with caps, with baseball caps and those kinds of things. And once in a while, I see, since I live in Texas, I see some cowboy hats now and then. But I had a hat when I was young and married, and but I didn't wear it much, and I didn't like wearing hats. The reason I didn't like hats is because the hat always messed up my hair, and I liked my hair not messed up. Uh, but I thought these things might be interesting to you. And let's see. Well, when I was born in 1929, Herbert Hoover was president. And then right after, well, in November, Franklin Delano Roosevelt became president. And so that's kind of the life I lived. I lived through World War II. I was 16 when it began, and I was 18 when it ended. And so I never did serve in the service. I was just barely a little too young for that. But I sure remember it. And in the theaters, they always had newsreels back then. And those newsreels were often scenes, live scenes from the war, bombings and fighting and all of that. We got to see quite a bit of the war on film as I grew up. Well, thank you for all of your comments. And I want to do this some more, but I think this will have to do for today. Goodbye.